Travelling by plane may not be everyone's cup of tea, but it sure gives you a bigger and better view of all the incredible things happening on the ground. People on flights have reported seeing a lot of extraordinary things, including breathtaking natural scenery. Air travel provides you with an opportunity to view the world from a different perspective. Some passengers take initiative and use their cameras to capture some unique sights that were missed by most people. In today's video, we'll be sharing with you some of the strangest things caught on camera by flight passengers, so make sure to stick around to the end. But before we get started, be sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and click the notification bell for more such amazing content. The eye of a hurricane. Flying through a storm would raise serious concerns among passengers. A video released by National Hurricane Center on Twitter hit the internet, showing two pilots flying into the eye of the Category 4 storm Hurricane Ida, which hit Louisiana and caused damages amounting to $64.6 billion. This hurricane was termed to be more dangerous than the 2005 Hurricane Katrina. The video shows the risk taken by the pilots, but the storm seems of mild intensity. The hurricane sustained winds of 150 miles an hour and wind gusts of 185 miles per hour. Snake on a plane. Movie lovers might have seen the 2006 action thriller movie Snakes on a Plane. Like the movie, in 2016, video footage was captured of an aeroplane of Aeromexico commercial flight from Torreon to Mexico City. It showed a large green snake slithering out of an overhead bin and coming out of the ceiling area and dropping in the cabin. The incident caused panic among the passengers. No one could make out how it managed to get on board. The plane was given priority landing in Mexico City, and workers managed to secure the reptile. Turbulence terror. Severe turbulence can be quite scary and even violent. Passengers of American Airlines Flight 759 from Athens, Greece to Philadelphia reported that they were just half an hour from their destination when turbulence came across suddenly. At that moment, flight attendants were serving drinks to 287 passengers, and immediately instructions were given to fasten seatbelts and flight attendants to be seated. Suddenly, drinks started flying and passengers hit their heads on the ceiling. Meanwhile, scared babies started screaming. 10 passengers were hospitalized, but later discharged. Flight attendant meltdown. A passenger managed to capture a shocking scene of a flight attendant on board American Airlines flight from Dallas-Fort Worth to Chicago in 2012. The flight returned to the airport immediately after takeoff as a female flight attendant started making inflammatory announcements on the public address system. Probably she was in a manic state. One passenger, Brad Leclerc, claimed that she told him that she was bipolar. She also talked about 9/11 and claimed to be highly trained by FAA and she would kill all the passengers. Police escorted her off the plane and the airline treated it as a medical issue. As per their statement, the affected flight attendant was getting proper care. Landing in a storm. Footage from a cockpit displayed how skillful pilots are while dealing with stormy conditions. In this footage, the runway was not visible, even till the last moment when the pilot managed to perfectly land the plane while facing potentially hairy crosswinds. It undoubtedly requires immense experience and skills from the pilot in charge of the plane. A lot of pilots fear crosswinds as they are aware that crosswinds have been contributing factors in several accidents. But the best trainers ensure they understand all flight controls that can help them. Taking a lower approach over the runway using flight controls helps the pilot in maintaining alignment. Engine failure scare. In 2017, engine failure was encountered by the Air Asia flight on an Airbus A330 from Perth, Australia to Kuala Lumpur, having 359 passengers on board. After having travelled for an hour over the west coast of Australia, the passengers heard a loud bang followed by intense shaking of the plane as if they were in a washing machine. One of the two Rolls-Royce engines had failed and the captain of the airplane immediately decided to go back to Perth. The cabin crew maintained composure, but their expressions showed that the situation was not good. However, the plane landed safely at Perth Airport and the pilot shook everyone's hand when they disembarked. Plane panel cracks mid-flight. In 2014, an American Airlines Boeing 757 going from San Francisco to Dallas had to make an emergency landing as one of its wall panels in the cabin had cracked loose. Within a few minutes of taking off from the San Francisco airport, some of the passengers had sensed that the fuselage had shaken and they also heard popping noises that seemed to come from outside the plane. Soon, interior panels on both sides of the plane had pulled away from the walls. The crew believed that the plane had probably blown an air duct, but the captain made a decision to continue the journey as the cabin had not lost air pressure and oxygen masks had also not been dropped. The captain decided to make an emergency landing and flew back safely. Hudson plane crash. On the 15th of January 2009, 155 passengers were on board a US Airways flight Airbus 320 jetliner. During the journey, a flock of geese disabled the engines of the aircraft and passengers feared that the plane might crash. But Chelsea's Solly Sollenberger decided to use his years of experience to glide the jetliner into the Hudson River in New York, as they could not reach any airport in the vicinity. Resultantly, all passengers and crew members landed safely. In 2016, a drama film called Miracle on the Hudson was made on this incredible feat. Despite Solly being acknowledged as a hero, National Transportation Safety Board conducted scrutiny of his actions. However, investigations confirmed his account of events. Malfunctioning fan causes emergency landing. Ethan Williams, along with his 275 other passengers and 18 crew members, were on board a Cathay Pacific flight from Hong Kong to Los Angeles. Meanwhile, the cabin crew asked him to take their shoes off and put their life jackets on. Flight attendants ran crazily and warning signs were going off. At this moment, Ethan started to record the event. Luckily, the plane landed safely at Erickson Air Station, which is an American airbase in Shemya, Alaska. The situation arose due to smoke in the cabin caused by a cooling fan. The plane, the Boeing 777, was declared safe and flew again. Ghost passengers. People waiting in the Phuket International Airport faced a lot of confusion when they witnessed some people walking up a jet bridge carrying luggage in hand and no plane attached to the bridge. Passengers seemed to appear from nowhere. A Bangkok Airways pilot present at the airport got an opportunity to capture the scene. People described these images as ghost passengers. However, some people pointed out that it was just an optical illusion, as it could be a coincidence of light falling at an angle where shadows of passengers walking on some other jet bridge reflected into the glass of the bridge not connected to any plane. Unruly passengers. It has been observed that some people try to make attendants' jobs much more difficult than they need to be. Recently, a study was conducted on approximately 5,000 flight attendants belonging to 30 different airlines. About 85% of them confided that they had dealt with unruly passengers during the year, whereas more than half said that they had dealt with 5 or more incidents. Another 17% informed that they'd been involved in an incident that turned into physical handling. There can be various reasons for this unpleasant behavior. Some people travel for sad reasons like the death of loved ones. Some take alcohol before traveling and then consume more on board. After the COVID-19 situation, some people resented wearing a mask and got into fights with the crew for asking them to do so. Hacked plane. In 2015, security researcher Chris Roberts, working with One World Labs, was apprehended from a United Airlines flight when tweeting about its security vulnerabilities and how he managed to take control of the plane and made it fly sideways. FBI turned up with his search warrant. Chris Roberts admitted to hacking the plane's in-flight entertainment systems and had overwritten code on the thrust management computer. He'd also issued a climb command to change its course. Some modifications made by him allowed him to monitor traffic from the cockpit system. The FBI escorted Chris and also confiscated laptops, USB sticks, and hard drives. Sideways landing. Storm Dennis is considered one of the most intense extratropical cyclones. It had wind gusts reaching speeds of 140 miles an hour and caused 7 fatalities. The pilot of an Adelaide Airways Airbus A380 flying from Abu Dhabi tried to test his crosswind flying skills when he resorted to a crab landing, a technique getting the name from the animal itself. This happened at London Heathrow Airport in unprecedented strong winds. The aeroplane had to approach the airport sideways to avoid being affected by the crosswinds. Luckily, the plane landed safely. Engine catches fire. One engine of a United Airlines flight bound for Honolulu carrying 231 passengers and 10 crew members failed and caught fire. The plane was taking off from Denver International Airport and experienced engine failure. The engine was on fire with debris falling off it. Passengers shared that they initially heard a loud bang and subsequently saw the right side engine burning. Some people captured the video of the scene. Fortunately, the aircraft landed safely. Lightning strikes an aeroplane. Mitchell Stewart was busy recording when the plane was passing through the clouds. Suddenly, lightning struck the wing of the plane and a bolt of electricity shot out of it. A lightning strike takes place when there's a build of charge inside a cloud and it comes into contact with another surface such as the ground, or in this incident, the plane's wing. Particles in the air are separated, leading to the creation of the path of charged gas. Lightning follows the path of least resistance between the two charged regions. Planes are made with a metal frame capable of conducting 200,000 amps without causing any damage to them. Left wing failure. In 1979, American Airlines Flight 191, a DC-10 plane, took off from Chicago O'Hare Airport. Immediately something went wrong and the aircraft met left-wing engine strut failure. It separated and fell off onto the runway just when the plane had taken off. Its hydraulic lines were also severed and resulted in the loss of hydraulic pressure in the remaining engine. The plane experienced power loss and it caused instrument failure. The aircraft climbed about 300 feet and then turned and rolled towards the left. Finally, it had a 112-degree fall. Unfortunately, the aircraft crashed into a trailer park. All 251 passengers, crew members, and 2 people on the ground were killed in the incident. Scorpion on a plane. There's been more than one incident of scorpions being found on planes. In 2019, a passenger on United Airlines Flight 1554 from San Francisco to Atlanta was stung by a scorpion. Even if a scorpion's sting may not be poisonous, it would be very painful. The affected woman was taken to a local hospital by the medical representatives in Atlanta. Passengers on board a Lion Air flight in Indonesia also captured a scene of a scorpion crawling out of an overhead compartment. The same year, another woman was stung by a scorpion on a flight in Canada. Hawaii plane crash. Ferdinand Puentes captured video from the plane started acting up until he fell in the water and awaited to be rescued. In December 2013, Ferdinand, along with 8 other persons, was on board a Cessna Grand Caravan. They took off from Molokai in Hawaii for Honolulu. They heard a loud bang. Ferdinand was able to capture footage of the incident and continued to use the camera while the plane crashed and the fuselage was filled with water. Passengers clung to the wings of the plane when it had immersed in the water. They dispersed and floated due to the choppy water for about an hour in 2 groups. Only one person, 65-year-old Loretta Fuddy, who was Hawaii State Health Director, died in the accident. A strange UFO. In August 2018, an aeroplane passenger in Japan filmed a fleet of unusual objects hovering above the clouds. Several UFO watchers believe that Japan has become a hotbed for extraterrestrial activities. The big, strange, giant UFO can be seen clearly in this minute-long video. Close by, one can see smaller objects hovering around resembling specks. Some people rumored that the video was just CGI. It is interesting to note that the Japanese Defense Forces are making important changes in their procedures. As per the former defense minister, if military persons witness any inexplicable phenomena, then they must take videos for subsequent analysis. Ghost on a plane. One patrolman at a Mexico City airport was checking an aeroplane using the light of his phone for ensuring that no one was left behind on the plane. It was pitch dark inside the plane. He was sure that no person was on it. Suddenly he observed a dark figure peering at him from around a corner in front of him. Initially, the patrolman looked astonishingly and thought of moving towards the figure. The patrolman realized that the figure was not a human and fled away from the plane. Most people think he was just seeing things as it was pitch black. We have to say some of these were pretty scary. Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Also, make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. See you all next time.